The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley Show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
And let's make some magic.
It is magic time. Hello, and welcome once again to the Warren and Bradley Show. I'm one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
And I am the other host, Warren.
We had a little stutter there at the beginning. The train went by. Burlington Northern Santa Fe is the bane of our recording existence.
A lot of potash heading south.
There was a lot of potash, and we were trying to figure out what potash is exactly.
If anyone out there in the listening audience knows
we're
what
just going to
potash
get
is.
some hippie like writing in like, I'll tell you what potash is, motherfucker. I'm in a much better mood this weekend than I was last weekend.
Oh, good.
I'm not sure why exactly, because nothing has changed.
You mentioned earlier that you hit your head really hard.
I did, and that might have something to do with it, but I was already in a good mood Friday. But yeah, it was raining like crazy Friday night, and I had gone out, and then when I came home, I took my sopping wet coat and hat off and hung them up. And then in the morning, there was a little puddle under where they had been drying, and I didn't realize it, and I got up all bleary-eyed without my contacts in, and I went, whoa! And like fell and knocked the back of my head on the ground.
Oh, my.
And was rather stunned, actually. Because usually I've smacked my head on things so many times throughout my life. I've cracked it open on many things, had stitches and stuff. And I seem to have a fairly resilient head, and usually I just bounce right back. But this time I was a little, like, kind of... Yeah.
Well, that's the kind of situation if you're like 80, let's say.
Yeah.
You get up and you do that, and nobody finds you for like 2 months.
Yeah, you
get
get
like, why haven't you paid your rent? And then you come in there and there's like this like
pool of
rotting
blood
corpse.
And, you get some sort of edema. Or is it edema? Or
I think that's right. That's like pooling of blood
in the brain
because of blunt force or something.
I don't think that happened to me. I might be mildly concussed right now, but
well, these things do happen though. People have brain injuries and then all of a sudden they're fine for a few days and they just drop dead because something was happening in there.
Yeah, so that's possible. But anyway, whether it were the knock on the head or just some other... There's never any reason why I'm particularly depressed or particularly in a good mood. It's because everything's always the same. I still have a miserable job and no girlfriend and blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, I was like, hey, what's going on?
You think if you had like a slightly better job and a girlfriend at all, you'd be happier?
No, I don't think so. Well, that's my point, is that because I can be happy in miserable circumstances, or I can be miserable in my same miserable circumstances.
Yeah.
I don't think the miserable circumstances really have anything to do with it.
No, not to a certain degree.
No, not really. And it is also just, I think last show I was talking about how annoyed I was and how everyone else seemed to be a dick as well.
Yeah.
But I realized today is that when I was in a friendly mood and I'm walking around the street, people sense that, and then they're friendly to you.
Yeah.
And when you're in a bitchy, horrible mood, they sense that, and they'll probably be bitchy and horrible to you as well. So I was like, walking around the streets of the town, and people are like, good day to you, sir. Well, not exactly like that, but I was like...
What?
Well, people like nodding and smiling as you walk by, and I'm like, hey, nodding and smiling.
Oh, it's a better way to go.
Yeah. Some little girl, like... No. So a little toddler girl, wandered in front of me, and I tried to stop, and she went, and hit my legs and went, oh, and I went, oh, and caught her, and then her mother went, ha, 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 and I went, oh, 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 and we laughed, and then the little girl stumbled away almost out into the street. But yeah, it was just a pleasant weekend for some reason.
Oh, good.
Even though the weather was miserable.
Oh, there's been a lot of rain.
Yeah, there's a lot of rain lately.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
Yeah. We also had a very good response for the That's How Women Are feature, which we premiered last week, especially the song. And I actually misspoke when I mentioned the bumper music last week. I had said that I made it, but that's obviously not the case. I don't have that kind of
you're not a talented
talent.
Man.
No, not at all. It was actually, we have a big fan in a certain rock group who are, they hail from Scottsdale, Arizona. They're called Groupus McKay and the Rabble Rousers. They do a mix of classic rock, some covers, and some originals. But they heard the show, they loved the show, and they had heard us doing sort of the prototype for the That's How Women Are feature, where we would mention female tendencies and the things that they do. And so he just, Grupus, took it upon himself to write the song for us and sent it in. And in exchange, he would just like us every once in a while to mention when they'll be playing in the Scottsdale area.
We can accommodate him.
And we'll accommodate that. Actually, Grupus McKay and the Rabble Rousers will be playing at Big Earl's Barbecue on East 1st Avenue on Saturday, March 24th with special guest Los Alcohetes.
Oh, if you're down in Scottsdale, make sure to drop in.
Yeah, you might be. You go in for a nice rack of ribs, and you can see.
And wear your Warren and Bradley T-shirt. If
yes,
you have one.
actually, I guess you could special order one. I have made some, but I haven't actually put them up for sale.
Or you can make one yourself. You could take like a Sharpie and like make a sloppy rendering on a white T-shirt of us, and then like write Warren and Bradley underneath. And
in fact, Grupus and the Rabble Rousers are such big fans that they've made their own shirts that have that feature both of us. They actually superimposed our faces into the back of their band photo, so it's almost like we're part of Grupus McKay and the Rebel.
They're very cool, as you can tell, and they're very popular in the underground scene in Scottsdale.
I wouldn't say that. But they're talented people.
It's hard to break in Scottsdale, though.
Hopefully,
it's a
in the
very
future,
insular environment.
If we have more new features, Grupus will really bear down and write a song for us.
We would really appreciate it.
Yeah. So thanks, Grupus. Thanks, Rabble Rousers. And if you're in Scottsdale, check them out at Big Earl's Barbecue on the 24th. What's on your mind, Warren?
I've been revisiting movies from 2010, 2009 again.
Oh yeah, so you saw Inception a while ago.
I saw Inception. What else? I saw The Fighter a couple weeks ago.
The Fighter,
I was watching
any good?
other things. It was okay. I watched Avatar this weekend.
Oh yeah, I remember I told you I just watched that for the first time a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
It wasn't that bad, actually.
Yeah, that's exactly what I told you, and you were very.
My expectations were extremely low.
Oh, so were mine.
Because I thought it would be just like Titanic. It would just be like a blue alien, like painting pictures of some other blue alien with like jewels around it, and then like swelling Celine Dion music, and me being like, this isn't interesting. This is boring.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just kind of an action-packed children's movie it was like cartoon aliens running around shooting each other, which was great.
That's exactly what I told you. Remember, you were saying that the plot looks so stupid, and I was like, it kind of is, but for some reason it works.
Yeah, it was entertaining. There was a lot going on. It just wasn't sappy beyond belief. It was sappy, but...
Were you attracted to the blue alien chick?
No, but I was like, who is that? And then I found out who it was.
Zoe Saldana or whatever.
Oh, she's hot, isn't she?
Oh my God,
Because you know what else I watched?
Yes.
Star Trek.
Oh, you've never seen that?
No.
What'd you think of that?
I thought that was pretty entertaining, too.
Yeah, it was a
and
good
she
movie.
was in there.
Oh, yeah.
Whew.
She is amazingly attractive.
Yeah. And dating Spock.
In real life?
No, in the movie.
Oh, well, yeah.
Even though Kirk was trying to make his moves on her.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was her, though. It's weird. Do you think it looked like her?
In Avatar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can sort of tell it's her.
Really?
I mean, well, if you go in knowing that that's her. The Sigourney Weaver one freaked me out.
Yeah, she looks weird.
Yeah.
It looks more human than the other ones.
Yeah, and
so
it
it just
was
looks like
kinda
a creepy, messed up human.
Yeah.
You know, when I was watching Star Trek, though, I couldn't figure out who the villain was in there, even though I could recognize
Eric
him.
Bana?
Yeah, I didn't know, and I had to read. I was like, oh, it was him. It was familiar to me, but he was just running around yelling. I was like, I know who that guy is, but I couldn't place him. That was good. Oh, I watched The Social Network.
Oh, what'd you think of that?
That was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I just watched that recently, too.
I think that movie was taking that story was probably as good as a movie you could make with it.
I thinking about apparently the actual historical facts are all pretty much true, like the way Facebook develops and everything, but to turn that into a compelling narrative is
it was very
well done.
Very well done.
Apparently Mark Zuckerberg isn't as much of a dick as he's portrayed as.
I'm sure that's how Mark Zuckerberg would want you to think, right?
I don't know.
Right? Now that everyone's been silenced because of
I was
court
reading
settlements.
other people talking about him and just saying, he's actually a pretty nice guy.
It's interesting. How much do you think those Winklevoss twins deserved a lot of money?
No.
They don't, do they?
No. I loved the Winklevoss twins.
They were great. The performances were amazing.
I love the idea that still exists. Like, you can go to Harvard and there's still these old money families.
Yeah.
Like Winklevoss, that's probably from the original Dutch colonists to Manhattan Island, you know? Like, real old money. And the fact that they still have that weird kind of closed society that we'll never have anything to do with.
Yeah.
I love that still exists.
And it was just the one guy playing the twins.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
How do they do that?
The computer magic, Warren. I don't know.
How?
They can do whatever.
I forgot to look this up because I guess they can do whatever they want, but that seems very complicated to me. I don't know how you do that.
Well, you've seen The Parent Trap with Haley Mills and Haley Mills.
Yes. But it's how they do. I can see how they're doing that. I don't know how they got him to play two different people on the screen at the same time all the time.
Well, they just superimpose his face on something else. I don't know.
No, there's a lot of great stuff in that. Timberlake as the Napster guy. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Timberlake as an actor has really redeemed himself, in my opinion. Does he
have to redeem himself? What was wrong with him?
In my eyes, I know he doesn't really care what I think of him, but
No.
in terms of his musical career, I was always like, oh, God, shut the fuck up. But as an actor, he's rather amusing.
Well, he's a fine actor, and as far as a pop star, he's not annoying as some of the other ones.
We're bringing sexy back.
Well, he brought sexy back. It's about time.
Watch your back. It's ridiculous.
Well, they're all ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. We've mentioned this. Well, that's good. This is our movie review. So we like
movies from
the
years
thing
ago.
is that everyone has already seen these movies, so they're not going to watch them now based on our recommendation.
There's some other ones I need to watch, I think.
I was watching something about these natives in South America, and they were devouring tarantulas. Didn't cook them. Didn't do anything. They were just like crunch into
Really?
the abdomen, and all this goo squirts out everywhere.
Yeah, well, if you're raised in that village, it wouldn't seem that weird, I guess.
But then some of them they were like burning all the hairs off first, because you don't want to eat all the hair.
Well, it depends who you talk to.
But they didn't seem to
Some
worry
people
about.
love
They
the
didn't seem to
hair.
worry about the fangs or the mandibles or anything like that. Those are fine. Yeah, I'm glad I don't live in the tropics.
No, just the snakes and the bugs and the whole deal.
Even living in LA, like here in Washington, there are so few pests or things
Yeah.
that will actually infest your apartment. I've never seen a cockroach here.
Yeah.
Occasionally, a little silverfish will squirrel
hate
away, and
those.
I go,
They're gross.
and I crush it with
Ugh, they're
extreme
disgusting.
prejudice. But when I lived in LA, constant cockroaches, ants everywhere. I would go crazy with these things.
That's one of the things about our region of the country. There just aren't like poisonous things very
No.
that much, and there aren't like things that are going to attack you in the wild. Really,
No.
there are bears, but to get attacked by a bear, you have to work pretty hard. I think to
Yeah,
make that happen.
You'd have to like drape yourself in a meat
guess.
suit or something,
And then
run
like
around.
there are cougars around.
Yeah.
but there are cougars everywhere.
Cougars run away though. If you go,
Cougars mostly run
"Rah!"
away.
they'll run from you.
Occasionally, they'll like jump on a small woman or a child.
Yeah, if there's
Very
some like
rarely.
very petite jogger
Yeah.
running around, they might jump on her.
But it's one of those things. It's like getting struck by lightning. It doesn't happen very often.
for the most part, being a full-grown adult male, there aren't a lot of animals that are going to attack you.
No,
At least not in North America.
I guess not. Yeah, I'm more worried about farther south, and you just get the spiders and the snakes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's stuff that really disturbs me.
Yeah, I was looking. It was the same documentary I was watching where they were just running around through the Amazon rainforest and just looking at the air. Basically, I can't understand how anyone was breathing without inhaling thousands and thousands of insects.
Yeah.
They're just everywhere.
Yeah, kind of how I imagine Pandora would be as well.
Yeah.
Weird shit. That's what I thought about when they were walking around there. It seemed like, I don't think I'd want to go walking around here. There seems like a lot of nasty
Well,
stuff.
that was the whole point, that everything can kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the army guy with the clawed face was like, this is a very antagonistic place.
See, that's why I was saying that James Cameron is actually really good at what he does, because that is such a simplistic, ridiculous plot, but it's so perfect for mass appeal. It's like, these are the evil people, these are the good people. There's no ambiguity whatsoever. You know who to root for, and it works. Like, it makes you root for these
But
people.
it's cowboys and Indians
Exactly.
told from the perspective of Indians.
It's
so.
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, it is
in
kind
space.
of. I
Yeah.
mean, they had the same sort of outfits too, and they did like war paint and stuff.
See, I still found Zoe Saldana as the alien hot. Like, I would actually have had sex with her. Except
Really?
I'd probably get lost. 'Cause
Really?
how tall are they supposed to be?
You
They're
found
like-
that blue thing attractive?
Yeah, she was attractive.
Do you notice how big they were?
Well, I know. That would be
Big
a
and
problem.
creepy looking, and all those weird. Oh, you're weird. That's a weird thing to
A lot
feel
of people.
attracted to.
A lot of people. I'm not like.
You feel attracted to cartoon characters sometimes?
Sometimes.
Like, what's the one from Roger Rabbit?
No. See, I didn't find that attractive.
She's too voluptuous for you.
Yeah. But see, isn't she? She's exactly my type. The
Blue alien?
The blue alien.
Yeah,
chick.
she is your type.
Really tall and skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue.
Blue.
Give her with a bow and arrow. But even like Michelle Rodriguez, when she was in her like little plane, she put on like war paint on her face.
Yeah.
And was like, there's a lot of things that are just so idiotic that it makes it pretty entertaining.
That was good.
Yeah.
Luckily, this week
Oh.
I have a Street Freak of the Week.
Oh. Fortunately.
They wander the streets, scavenging for loose change and discarded cigarette butts.
Spare $1.
And give me a motherfucking cigarette.
Ran out of gas ways back. Got any meth?
You smoke weed, don't you?
Good in the car.
I could use some change.
They may be mentally unstable and deserving of our charity, but that doesn't mean they can't be selected as the Warren and Bradley Show Street Freak of the Week.
I know everyone was very upset about the fact that last week we didn't have a Street Freak of the Week.
Yeah, people
and
really,
I was trying. I was out there. I was trying to engage with people. Nobody was coming up to me, and I didn't want to force it. I didn't want to just like make somebody do something weird, like give them $10 and have them dance for me or something.
No, because that's cheating.
That is cheating. So I was wondering if maybe we should open it up to listeners as well, where if they have any kind of strange encounter. And we actually, before I get to my Street Freak of the Week, one of our friends, Chance, had a little encounter with a juggalo out on the streets of Bellingham.
Didn't offer to arm wrestle him, did he?
No, he didn't,
Okay,
luckily. But apparently he was just standing around, and some giant fat juggalo. For those of you who don't know what juggalos are, maybe we'll put a picture up on our website. They're idiots who love the Insane Clown Posse. I guess, I don't know if he had face paint on, but he was obviously a juggalo, and he saw our good friend Chance just standing there, and apparently just started shrieking and yelled and ran at him with fist raised as though he was going to pummel him.
Uh-oh.
And Chance went, "Oh," and put his hand up, sort of like Moses parting the Red Sea or something. And the juggalo stopped dead in his tracks and then just stood in his face, shrieking and yelling obscenities at him.
That's nice.
Until Chance went, "Okay, that's enough of that," and just walked away. And the guy just still screamed and yelled. So you have to imagine someone who is obsessed with ICP,
Yeah.
probably not the most mentally stable person in the entire world.
And not the most intelligent person, perhaps.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Fucking rainbows. Don't you remember that? The video, the ICP video?
No, I've never seen it.
It's about how cool the world is. And they're rapping about, like, my daughter's love. Oh, fucking rainbows. Oh, what's this science shit? Yo. It's amazing.
Very positive. It's a positive message.
That's a very positive message. But anyway, to get to my Street Freak of the Week, I was standing outside of Rite Aid. I was about to go inside and buy some toilet paper. And was smoking a cigarette and wanted to finish the cigarette so I was not to waste it. And a homeless man with a large shopping cart filled with various detritus that he had found, like, I don't know, old sleeping bag and jugs of water.
His
and
valuables.
His valuables.
It sounds like he's getting ready for the apocalypse.
Well, I think homeless people are very well prepared for
That's
the apocalypse.
true.
Anyway, he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, can you watch my stuff?" It's like, I'm about to go inside. He's like, I need to go in, get some water. I'm like, all right, just, okay. So he parks his shopping cart. He wanders inside. I finish my cigarette. I'm ready to go inside and shop. He hasn't come out yet. I wait for maybe 10, 15 minutes. Like, I have better things to do than...
Well, this is the thing. You're bordering on being a nut job at this point, because who's going to steal this guy's shopping cart anyways?
Exactly. But it's like, it was like the social contract where I said I would, and then I don't know.
Lock-in.
I
It's
guess.
the social contract.
And I don't know who would steal it. Maybe another homeless person would steal it. Maybe they have a whole different idea of what is valuable.
Yeah.
But he didn't come out, and so I'm like, okay, fuck this. I'm going to go inside. If I see him, I'll tell him, your fucking shopping cart is outside. He wasn't in there. And I don't know how he got out. There's no back entrance or anything.
No, there's only the one way in and out of there.
Yeah, but somehow I didn't see him. Maybe he was like collapsed in an alcove somewhere or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that could be.
So I bought my toilet paper, came outside. The shopping cart was still there. There weren't any like homeless people surrounding it. Like, no. So didn't think anything of it until today. I had gone and gotten a bagel again, was standing on the corner drinking my coffee, and the homeless person starts trundling by with his shopping cart, so he obviously retrieved
Still has
it.
a shopping cart, yeah.
And then he saw me, and then proceeded to ream me up and down for leaving his shopping cart behind. And there was nothing I could say to calm him. He was just like, "God, motherfucker, leave my shopping cart." Just started screaming and screaming like how it could have gotten stolen, and that's all he has in the world, and like, don't I care? And it was really like, if it weren't a homeless man with a shopping cart, it could have really, it was like somebody had entrusted their child to me, and I had just like left the child in a car and gone drinking for the night or something. He was really trying to guilt me out there.
It's weird that he remembers who you were, considering he's a crazy man with a shopping cart, and the fact that he left his shopping cart for so long and disappeared.
Yeah, so he doesn't care about his shopping cart enough. to just ask some stranger, I could have stolen his shopping cart. How
Yeah.
does he know he can trust me? And then to just leave it with me, leave it unattended for, well, I guess he thought it was attended.
He wouldn't have left it with me because he would have assumed I just took it.
He sees you like wearing all his spare clothing at some point. His
I have to run. from
sleeping
this
bag
homeless
wrapped
man.
around your shoulders as a shawl.
I'm going camping with this great sleeping bag. I'm going to drink this water.
So yeah, the thing about him is that he didn't really, aside from him screaming at me about the shopping cart, he didn't seem as insane as most of the usual homeless people who I encounter on a daily basis. He seems kind of coherent.
Well, it probably goes in and out.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, there's a certain level of crazy you got to get to when you end up on the street. There are people that are crazier and less crazy. I'm sure there's some hierarchy of those people.
Yeah, there definitely is a spectrum.
That's why I always say, we talked about before about the people on the side of the highway with the clever sign.
Right.
Those are the geniuses. You know what I mean?
Those are the people who actually live in like middle class houses.
Those are
and
very high functioning people. Never listen to me. I'm telling you what to do, listeners. Never give those people any money.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen little exposés where they show a guy pull up in this SUV, get out, change into his scrubby clothes, and I'm not saying this happens often, but this was like around in LA or something, goes, stands by the freeway on-ramp and collects hundreds of dollars throughout the day, and that's how he supports himself and has like a middle-class lifestyle.
The people who need your assistance are the people who can't make the sign.
Who don't have it together enough to go stand out. Yeah,
who have schizophrenia and are just screaming all day and wandering down the alleys.
These are the people
They're not
who
smart
need
enough
to
to
be-
manipulate you into giving them money. Those are the people that need, like, charitable assistance.
Yeah.
So give money to, like, social service organizations that feed these people and provide them health care.
Yes.
Do not give it to somebody with a clever sign.
And yeah, I think in general it's a good rule of thumb not to give it to just anyone who asks either, because they're just going to buy alcohol with it anyway.
This is true.
They don't need any more alcohol.
No, or drugs or whatever. Yeah.
So, if any of our listeners have any encounters with a eccentric homeless person, feel free to write in at podcast@warrenandbradley.com.
Or any of our features, I guess.
Or
Yeah.
any of our features, yes. If you have any questions about how women are,
Yeah.
we are experts in this field, and we can answer those questions
If
for
you're
you.
a celebrity and you have some news about your life.
Yeah, if you want to, if your publicist wants to get in touch with us, we will maybe write up a story for you. Depending, I mean, we're not going to just do shameless promotion for people who just want their name on the Warren and Bradley show. So,
Of course we would, though.
well,
If, like,
maybe.
a C-list celebrity contacted us, we'd talk about it for an hour.
Well, yeah, we probably would.
Yeah.
We are prostitutes. So there you go. That was Street Freak of the Week.
Yeah.
Our hats are off to you, Mr. Homeless Man, because you've been selected as the Warren and Bradley Show Street Freak of the Week.
So I came to an interesting realization last night.
Oh, good. An epiphany?
Maybe. It's, I've been complaining about not having any female companionship lately. And I realized that I think my main obstacle to this is the fact that if a woman shows too much interest in me, I do not like the person because of this. It's almost like
this is the Woody Allen thing, right?
Yeah, it is kind of the Woody Allen thing.
Yeah.
It's like I can't respect somebody who likes me sort of thing.
You would want to join a club that would have you as a member.
Well, but that's the weird thing, is because I don't think I have low self-esteem. I think I'm actually probably have an inflated idea of my own worth. But for some reason, maybe it's just the social interaction where, so last night I was talking to a friend of ours, and there were some people who worked with her boyfriend who were out together. It was like a little work thing. They all went out together. And I noticed this girl who was in that group was like scoping me out. Ooh. Bam! Like really, really staring at me. And our friend as well like noticed this and mentioned it to me. And so then the girl came up and made it seem as though she was coming up to say hello to our friend, but really she was just wanting to be introduced to me. And so she's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And like, "Oh, who's this?" Like, "Oh, this is Bradley." And she introduced herself, and she was like so eager and like took my hand and did the two-hand thing. And then she seemed really nervous too, and she tried to make some sort of little joke and kind of fell flat. And I was like, ha, 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 that's good. Nice to meet you. And then she went back and just continued staring at me. And
Well, this person doesn't sound healthy.
well, no, whatever. Yeah, exactly. The
Well,
fact
I mean,
that she
it's
was,
one thing to show interest. It's another thing to be like completely fall apart at the sight of you, which is weird.
well, come on, I have that effect on people.
Fear, maybe. Fear of disease.
What? Shut up.
Okay.
I'm clean. But yeah, so I by the same token, if somebody likes me and I like that person, that's a good thing. But I think just in that kind of social, it's like I don't know where to go with that. Like, what do? You go up and like, I couldn't help but notice that you, like, I don't know.
You don't address the fact the person was looking at you. It would make sense for you to just go and like you can talk to the person, interact with the person.
Yeah. But I don't. Yeah. For some
Speaking
reason,
of the social network, why don't you friend this person on Facebook?
I can't remember what her name was.
Well, that should be easy to.
But and I don't know if like. I mean, she was reasonably attractive and everything, but I don't know. It's like I don't know her from anyone else. She's just
Well, if she seems to like you and she seems reasonably attractive, maybe you should make another step and try to get to know the person better.
But I wasn't. The fact that this was presented in such a way, for some reason, just completely turned me off to speaking to her or having anything to do with
Well,
it.
that's not right. Then you're sabotaging yourself.
There's some kind of
you
weird
don't
mental
want then
thing
you,
going on there.
in a level deep inside of you, you don't want to have a girlfriend at all.
Maybe.
You'd rather just be alone.
Perhaps, because the only people I like are people who I could never date, probably.
Well, that would speak to the fact that you don't want to have a girlfriend, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. Why would you only be attracted to people you can't date?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Listeners, you want to chime in here?
If it's so important for you to date someone, then go date someone.
Everyone keeps saying this, and I could. If I wanted to, I could go find somebody and date them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's an easy solution
So
to
I'll
a
stop
problem.
complaining about it.
Yeah, well, exactly. Or step up. Show us what you got. Show us your moves. Start looking at pickup lines on the internet and like start throwing them out there.
It was funny because the other day too, there was this really cute girl walked by and whistled when she saw me. She gave me an appraising look, and then she went, "I can't whistle."
You have the strangest interactions with strangers.
Well, I didn't interact with her, but she.
Well, that's an interaction, though.
Yeah, I guess.
You have the homeless man come back and yell at you about a shopping cart, and you have women like whistling at you and looking at you. These are strange things.
But see, that's another instance where what do you do with that? A girl goes woohoo and whistles as she walks by, and then you go, "Hey, baby," and like shake your ass at her. Or
There's
something.
nothing you can do with that.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. If you follow after and go like, "Well, I happen to notice that you whistled at me," and she'd just be like, "Oh,
No, that's too desperate. And like, but this person, it was giving you signs of like,
yeah."
you know what I mean? And there's a way back into this situation.
Actually, when I was more drunk at the end of the night,
Yeah.
I saw her, but by that point she had transferred her affections over to another man. I saw her like schmoozing. Blah. She was all over some other dude because I had kind of rejected her.
Oh, really?
So by that point, then I was like, maybe I do like this girl.
Oh,
because
God.
she was, I don't know, there's this whole mental thing going
Well, that
on.
also means that you weren't very special. You're just the latest man in front of her.
Well, I think she was so heartbroken by my rejection that she just threw herself at somebody else to make up for it.
Seems unlikely.
I think it's pretty likely.
whatever narrative gets you the day, buddy. I was at work the other day listening to some coworkers talking, and one of my coworkers was talking about how her daughter had been sledding when she was in 8th grade. And
She'd been sledding?
sledding.
Oh, sledding. Okay.
She's sledding in 8th grade. Although this brings me to another point. This is another thing that happens at work sometimes. Like, one of my coworkers has, like, a 10-year-old daughter who has, like, a 10-year-old girl for a friend, and they were talking about how the girl dresses like a slut.
At 10?
Yeah, and I was like,
How does a 10-year-old dress like a slut?
I don't know, but I was like, that seems like a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on. That's a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Give her, you know what I mean? But getting back to my
So
broken
she's wearing
bone-
like a halter top and hot pants or
I
something?
don't know. It seems like a strange thing to say about a child.
Yeah.
But this coworker's daughter had broken her leg, and they had like set the leg and like put a cast on it. And they'd taken the cast off, and the leg or the foot was at like a 30-degree angle, like pointing out when
That
they took the
seems
cast
bad.
off. Yeah, it was bad. So they had to re-break it and do all this stuff, and it was like, oh, it was awful. And it brought me back to broken bones. Because I broke my wrist once.
Right.
Speaking of Selection Sunday, trying to mimic a slam dunk contest. And I fell off the basketball rim after jumping off the giant spool, and I like broke my wrist, and I was in a cast for whatever. How
When
long?
was this? I don't remember
It was
this.
5th grade.
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah. It wasn't like a bad break. It was just like a little fracture. It wasn't
Yeah.
like gross or anything. Like the daughter's one was like the bone was sticking out, and
Yeah,
it was like
that's
a
not good.
disgusting one. You've never had like an actual cast or anything, have you?
I did when I was a baby.
Oh,
I got in a really bad car accident when I was like 6 months old and broke my left arm. I think it was just like...
oh, that's right. I remember this. Yeah.
Well, you don't remember it, but you know
I remember.
that.
I remember hearing the story though.
Yeah. It was like broken in half, basically.
Do you feel anything in your arm now? Do you don't sense anything?
No. Apparently, especially when it happens when you're that young, it heals so well and so quickly.
Your bones are very
Yeah. And it actually, the break, it makes it stronger around there because it overcompensates by putting more of
Yeah,
a deposit
when
around
it grows back, it like is reinforced. It has
Yeah.
like sort of a scar of bone around it or something, so it's stronger.
It actually made me walk much later, though, because I couldn't crawl around or pull myself up or anything for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're just laying there. You just
They
gave
put
up.
me in one of those little, like, what the hell would you call those? Those little walker things where you sit and you can they have wheels on them. And they would just feed me popsicles all day, and I got really fat as a baby, and my growth was stunted as a result. Apparently, I was so good-natured as a child and as a baby.
That's
I was just
odd.
like, ha, 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 the whole time. Like, apparently, I just laughed constantly as a baby. I don't know what happened.
No, you took a bad turn somewhere.
Around 5, the horrors of the world just sort of weighed upon me or something.
Oh, the horrors.
The horrors. Oh, the horrors. No. We're having a lot of trouble with that, really. The sledding around, the horrors.
10-year-old sluts.
But yeah, apparently I was like the most good-natured, really happy child until I realized that the world is horrible.
Well, I don't remember how I was. And I guess I assume I was a happy child.
By the time we knew each other...
You're angry.
Yeah, I think I was already angry.
Angry 6-year-old.
So have you broken any bones as an adult?
No. The arm breaking thing, I was like, I broke my arm. It's incredibly painful. And they're like, you're fine. And it was hours and hours and hours. And I'm laying there on this couch. I'm like, yeah, this arm's broken. They're like, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And I was like, can we go get this? You know what I mean? Can we get this addressed at some
Is it
point?
too late to call Child Protective Services on your parents?
Like, what? They're going to take me away. Put me in a foster home.
That might have been better.
Yeah.
I think I've broken fingers a few times, but never.
Yeah, I think I
did
broke
anything
this
about
finger. It does this weird
yeah, that's
thing
creepy.
like that. Yeah. But there's nothing. I mean, you can break a finger, and there's nothing they can do for you. They're just
Yeah.
going to tell you to be careful with your finger. And maybe they take like a popsicle stick and put some tape on it, and they're like, "Now you're fine." You're like, "I don't know, am I?" It's no different.
That was. I've had this conversation before about breaking the penis,
Yes.
which can happen. There's no bone in there, obviously, and we've mentioned the penis bone before,
Yeah.
the baculum. But I've read these horror stories where somebody will be having sex vigorously, and it usually happens when the woman is on top because they're the one controlling the movement, and they're not as. Every man is just careful with their penis.
Yeah, obviously.
Even if it doesn't seem like you're being careful, you're just wanging it around all over the place. You still are. You're aware.
You know
of
what's going on there,
You know
yeah.
where it is in spatial relation. You know not to smack it against things. But occasionally a woman will be on top and gets too vigorous, and it'll just go and like break in half. Where basically, oh my god, it sounds so horrible. You get like all this blood, all the blood vessels break, and it just fills with blood, and then. Oh, it can get this horrible scar tissue, so then it can never become erect properly again. And if you do get an erection, it's horribly painful, and it's all at weird angle and
Okay.
like snapped in. Oh my god!
I used to listen to a lot of Loveline,
Yeah,
and they would talk about cracking because there's some tendon down there or something that you can like crack it or something.
yeah.
But break it just bad. That's real bad.
You need a little sling for your penis.
Can you imagine? I guess you just get like a jock strap and just have it
Yes.
on the outside of your pants or a cod piece. And
They
just
have
walk
those
around.
penis like traction things that supposedly make them bigger. Like it actually is the same principle as when kids used to have polio, they put those braces on that would stretch the leg.
Yeah.
And it actually works on the leg anyway.
Well, there's a
where
bone in the leg.
Well, it's not just the bone, though, too. It stimulates the tissue to grow more as well. And supposedly, if you put this thing on your penis, I don't know how the hell you do it, but you clamp it down on there and you're like, ugh, and you stretch it. It will make it get bigger eventually, but you
Wouldn't
have
that
to
just work as a child if you still have a growing penis as a baby or something? Wouldn't
No,
it work?
it has nothing to do with the fact that whether or not you stop growing or not. It makes cell growth because you're stretching it and it has to grow.
Bullshit.
I've actually
Complete bullshit, because people would make themselves taller. They do it to their legs.
You can just, but you'd have to be in these braces all day long and just like stretch constantly.
In a world where people get $250 million contracts to play professional basketball, people would do that.
It's not practical because you'd have no life. And that's the thing with the penis thing. You'd have to walk around with this thing clamped onto your penis all day, every day. And it's just ridiculous, so nobody would bother. You can look this up, but we'll look it up online.
Oh, I don't doubt that there's all sorts of garbage that they tell you will make your penis bigger.
No. It's not.
It's going to work.
This isn't one of those things where it's like, oh, penis pills, enlargement. It's actually a medical thing that
This
you
is
can
a piece
do.
of medical equipment that you can put on your penis to make your penis bigger.
Yeah.
Why would doctors be concerned about that? Is this for people that have micro penises?
Yeah, initially it's for problems. It's for like tissue. If you have had like tissue damage in your penis and it won't become fully erect, you can do this to like it'll actually make the penis grow straight afterwards.
And of course, this begs the question: why are you looking into this? Why all the levels?
Because I got into this because I was looking into the whole breaking the penis thing, and then they were talking about what they can use to try to correct it, and it's these traction machine things. It's true.
So you're really this breaking the penis thing? You're worried about this happening?
I've had instances where I thought it was broken, like this horrible, painful, and like swelling. It's not good.
My goodness.
And so
you need to be more careful, my friend.
Well, my penis has been very careful lately because it hasn't been doing anything. But yeah, this is a worry. Aren't other men worried about breaking their penis?
No, just
I had
careful.
a spider bite my penis once.
Really?
That was worrying.
Really?
Yeah, it was
Did
horrible.
you get like a little bump?
Oh my God. It was when I was living in LA and my girlfriend at the time was in Spain. And in LA, I was always sleeping naked because it was so fucking hot and we didn't have any air conditioning. And I was asleep, and I must have like felt something on my penis. And so I put my hand down there and was like scratching at it. And suddenly, bam! Felt this horrible sharp pain. I was like, my penis. And I got up and there was like a spider smashed on my hand. I have no idea what kind of spider it was. And it did. It swelled up into this big globule thing. And so I started looking on the internet and looking at different kinds of spider venom, and there's some spider venom that's necrotic, which will actually cause the flesh to
like
rot.
Like the hobo spider.
Yeah. It'll cause the flesh to rot around the wound. I was just like, oh my God, my penis is going to rot off and fall. And so then I had written an email to my girlfriend, or she had written me. It was like, how are things going? She was like,
you're like, not well.
Well, she was in Seville or whatever, and I was like, a spider bit my penis. And I wrote it back, and then her response was just, oh my God, what could happen? And eventually it went away, but not my penis.
Most things do.
But yeah, the bite.
You lost some size, so you got the stretcher out and tried to rectify the situation.
There was a lot of soul searching. I was really upset for a while, and I thought,
well, this gets back to like people interacting with you on the street. Why are spiders biting your penis too, though?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's a nice warm spot for them to.
You're just like a magnet for this strange behavior.
It does seem like a lot of things happen in my life. I've been shot at. I've been stabbed. I've had
a lot of weird things like that
shit
happening. I don't know. You're getting yourself in weird situations. You're sleeping in weird ways. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I mean, it makes for interesting stories and a good life, I guess. Well, I
Makes
don't
for
know
a
about
good
it. I don't know about a good life, but an eventful life. In a life where it seems like nothing is really happening, there's a lot of little things that I can point to and be like, "That's funny. That's weird."
Yeah,
I almost died.
Go. Good. I'm glad you're happy.
It's amazing, getting back to penises, how naturally protective the human male is. You can do the test of like throwing something heavy onto a man's lap and they're immediately, they protect the penis.
Well, that makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint, right? That's if you're going to protect something, you're going to protect a thing that passes on your genes because you're trying to pass your genes on.
But do women have a similar like automatic response if you?
Well, they don't have their like gonads hanging out like that,
which is a better design in my opinion.
Yeah,
I guess if you
make more sense.
If you punch a boob or something, apparently that hurts really bad. I don't know if it has any.
Punch anyone in any spot hard enough, it'll hurt them.
Well, supposedly they claim that it's the same sort of like testicular manipulation pain.
No one
but I
knows
don't think
about
so.
pain.
I don't think.
But
so.
We hear this a lot about women, though, right? About like their threshold for pain is so much higher.
It's
and
not.
Men can never. Okay. Well, I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute. Are we going to be talking about women?
We are going to talk about how women are here.
All right.
say things that don't make any sense. And then they do things that make even less sense than the things they said that didn't make any sense. Oh, they want you to buy them fancy jewels, but when you give it to them, they say you're a fool. Whoa, 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 whoa. 'Cause that's how women are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how women are. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's how women are.
It's a very popular thing to say this about pain.
Oh,
right,
if
women.
you had to go through childbirth, you would never
you
make
understand, You understand the pain of a woman. Yeah, it's so much pain all the time. Pain, pain, pain. You men are such pussies. I don't think that's necessarily true.
No.
Where are they basing that on?
They base it on the fact that they go through childbirth, and there's no way that we can go through childbirth, so there's no way that we can say it. And I understand. It's like, obviously, it's a traumatic experience, and it's like, good job, you had a baby. And so you just give it to them, you know? You're like, yes, you're right, we couldn't go through childbirth. Aside from the fact that physiologically we cannot have children. But I don't think men would be crying and dying if they had to experience the pain of childbirth.
No.
They've actually done empirical studies. There is empirical evidence that shows that men do have a higher pain threshold than women. We have fewer nerve endings in our skin than women do, for one thing.
But that would mean we feel less pain, though, right?
We feel less pain, meaning we have a higher pain threshold.
But then that means. But we're talking about the level of pain, not the level of pain, what you're feeling. I mean, we're talking about what you're feeling, not your ability to. Pick up the feeling.
They've also done tests. They did a test at a university where they had a bucket of ice water. And they would have...
This is some tenuous science here.
No.
We're talking about empirical studies and universities, but I don't know.
This was a real study.
Okay.
Like in a journal, they wrote up a case report.
Journal.
This is a good way to test pain. Is like you dunk your hand in a bucket of ice water, and they were testing how long men would keep it in there and how long women were able to keep it in there before they said they couldn't stand the pain anymore. And men were on average double the time that women do. But at the same time, they couldn't necessarily determine how much of that is conditioning, because men believe that they should be able to withstand more pain.
Wasn't it all conditioning?
No, not necessarily. They were trying to make it. I can't remember what all the other blinds that they put up in the study to try to make it more.
But can there be something inherently about the mental makeup of males as opposed to females that would make them be able to withstand more pain?
Well, I think it makes sense if you think about the evolutionary kind of division of labor that men and women had back in the day, when men were doing things that probably caused them more bodily injury than women had on a daily basis.
Out hunting and stuff.
You're out straddling a mammoth with a spear, you're going to get thrown around a little bit.
But I don't. That's studied too, though. It's like you can stand as much pain as you can stand. I don't know how if the women pull their arm out. It's like they pull their arm out. I don't know if they a better study would be if you took a man and his wife and took their child and had a gun to its head. You know what I mean? And then you had them both put their arms in the water.
Yeah.
And see who pulled it out first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then it's a difference between trying to decide, okay, physiologically, are men wired differently the way they experience pain or the way they can handle pain, or mentally, are there conditional things within the brain or just through society that will make somebody withstand more pain or less pain?
Yeah.
Supposedly women are better at chronic pain, at managing chronic pain, like chronic back pain or things like that. And men are better at sharp, ow sort of pain, like getting shot in the face.
Well, shot in the face is rough. I can see this is true, though, right? Because you have that thing with women where they cut themselves or something and they cry and they roll, and you're and then we would just be like, oh, that's a bummer, and put it under the sink or something.
Yeah.
But my thing with pain is, though, any sort of thing that happens to my body that maybe I get shot or stabbed or something, that's bad and I'm not going to enjoy it. But the thing that I can't stand is nausea, which just puts me out in a second, which I guess maybe women and maybe other people are better at coping with that, apparently, because I just can't stand it. That's what I'm saying about, like, I could be like beaten, I think, or slam my arm in a door or something and be like, ow, you know what I mean, and go on with my day. But like, then there are other people who are hungover and they just go on with their day, and that feeling for me is so like intolerable that I like can't even like function. That nausea and the like headache and stuff.
I don't know. I mean, I can do. I'm pretty stoic anyway about discomfort, because pretty much the work I do is constantly being in horrible discomfort. That's just basically what my job is. And so you can get used to it, like you can get used to anything. I mean,
yeah, I guess you can, but I don't want to.
Yeah. I guess we're kind of getting off topic of how women are. What did we determine?
Sorry, everybody. What we've determined is, like, it's hip to say that like women are tough and can handle more pain,
and we should just give it to them anyway.
Well, that's the way we handle it as a society, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, who cares? You can have that.
Yeah.
So you can have it. You can have your like pain threshold, and you can have the thing where you like say that you're like stronger than men physically too, which you see on like a cover of Time magazine years ago, and you're like, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. I've lots of empirical studies, which is my existence, have noticed that that's not true. But
yeah.
You can have it if that makes you feel better.
Didn't they have a cover of Time once where it said men and women are different? And
yes.
It was like, oh my god,
yeah, and then
shocking. Basically, we have determined
yes,
that women don't really have the ability to withstand more pain than men, but we're going to let them think that they do.
Yeah, that's
what we've determined.
That's what women are. That's what women are. That's how women are.
That's how women are.
Yeah.
Okay.
The music plays.
Yeah, you know women, they've been on this earth for 200,000 years. And in that time they've caused men 200,000 tears. Yeah, they like to put pretty purple panties on. And then they turn around and tell you that every little bitty thing you've ever done is always wrong. Well, they like to cry when they stub their little toe. But no, they don't cry when they tell you to go. No. Yeah, that's how women are. Yeah, I'm talking about how women are. Whoa, women are. Yeah, women are. That's how women are. Yeah. I'm talking about how women are. You know they are. Women are.
This has been the Warren and Bradley Show, brought to you by Warren Van and Bradley Victor. For podcast news and information, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Warren and Bradley. Follow the show on Twitter at Warren and Brad. Subscribe on iTunes and leave a review. For episode archives and episode pictures, go to warrenandbradley.com, and to contact the show, write to podcast@warrenandbradley.com.
Is the bane of our recording existence.
A lot of potash heading south.
There was a lot of potash, and we were trying to figure out what potash is exactly.
If anyone out there in the listening audience knows
we're
what
just going to
potash
get
is.
some hippie like writing in like, I'll tell you what potash is, motherfucker. I'm in a much better mood this weekend than I was last weekend.
Oh, good.
I'm not sure why exactly, because nothing has changed.
You mentioned earlier that you hit your head really hard.
I did, and that might have something to do with it, but I was already in a good mood Friday. But yeah, it was raining like crazy Friday night, and I had gone out, and then when I came home, I took my sopping wet coat and hat off and hung them up. And then in the morning, there was a little puddle under where they had been drying, and I didn't realize it, and I got up all bleary-eyed without my contacts in, and I went, whoa! And like fell and knocked the back of my head on the ground.
Oh, my.
And was rather stunned, actually. Because usually I've smacked my head on things so many. What's going on?
You think if you had like a slightly better job and a girlfriend and all, you'd be happier?
No, I don't think so. Well, that's my point, is that because I can be happy in miserable circumstances, or I can be miserable in my same miserable circumstances.
Yeah.
I don't think the miserable circumstances really have anything to do with it.
No, not to a certain degree.
No, not really. And it is also just, I think last show I was talking about how annoyed I was and how everyone else seemed to be a dick as well.
Yeah.
But I realized today is that when I was in a friendly mood and I'm walking around the street, people sense that, and then they're friendly to you.
Yeah.
And when you're in a bitchy, horrible mood, they sense that, and they'll probably be bitchy and horrible to you as well. So I was like, walking around the streets of the town, and people are like, good day to you, sir. Well, not exactly like that, but I was like,
What?
Well, people like nodding and smiling as you walk by, and I'm like, hey, nodding and smiling.
Oh, it's a better way to go.
Yeah. Some little girl, like, no. So a little toddler girl, like, wandered in front of me, and I tried to stop, and she went, and like, hit my legs and went, oh, and I went, oh, and caught her. And then her mother went, ha, 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 and I went, oh, 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 and we laughed. And then the little girl, like, stumbled away, like, almost out into the street. But yeah, it was just a pleasant weekend for some reason.
Oh, good.
Even though the weather was miserable.
Oh, there's been a lot of rain.
Yeah, there's a lot of rain lately.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
Yeah. We also had a very good response for the That's How Women Are feature, which we premiered last week, especially the song. And I actually misspoke when I mentioned the bumper music last week. I had said that I made it, but that's obviously not the case. I don't have that kind of
No, you're not a
musical
talented
talent.
man.
No, not at all. It was actually, we have a big fan in a certain rock group who are they hail from Scottsdale. Times throughout my life I've cracked it open on many things, had stitches and stuff, and I seem to have a fairly resilient head, and usually I just bounce right back, but this time I was a little like kind of
Well, that's the kind of situation if you're like 80, let's say.
Yeah.
You get up and you do that, and nobody finds you for like 2 months.
Yeah, you get
like,
some-
why haven't you paid your rent? And then you come in there and there's like this like
pool of
rotting
blood
corpse.
and, like,
and,
you
laying
get some
there.
sort of edema, or is it edema? Or
I think that's right. That's like
Yeah.
pooling of blood
In the brain.
because of blunt force or something.
I don't think that happened to me. I might be mildly concussed right now, but
Well, these things do happen though. People have brain injuries and then all of a sudden they're fine for a few days and they just drop dead
Yeah.
because something was happening in there.
yeah, so that's possible. But anyway, whether it were the knock on the head or just some other, there's never any reason why I'm particularly depressed or particularly in a good mood. It's because everything's always the same. I still have a miserable job and no girlfriend and blah blah blah. But for some reason, I was like, hey.
The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
And let's make some magic.
It is magic time. Hello, and welcome once again to the Warren and Bradley show. I'm one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
And I am the other host, Warren.
We had a little stutter there at the beginning. The train went by Burlington Northern Santa Fe.